International window action continues. United States women's national team will play South Korea on Tuesday in St. Paul, Minnesota. This team coming off of a scoreless draw previously against the side.
Mhm.
It's going to be the second of a two-game series against the South Korean side. This final match really being billed as the farewell match for U.S. women's national team legend Carli Lloyd. So we have some questions for this match. We were wondering, Lisa and I, what the starting lineup is going to look like, and we thought to ourselves, you know what could be fun? Something that we did last time during the international windows. What if we did a wish list? So what if we did another starting 11 wish list? So Lisa and I are going to do that for you all right now. We had a little bit of giggles as we were content planning this because we both kind of feel as if maybe we might have similar starting 11s. But I'm gonna pitch it to you, my dear co-host. What would you like to see in the farewell match of Carli Lloyd against South Korea?
I just have to say, I love doing our wish lists. I feel so powerful. I feel like Vlatko Andonovski, like setting the lineup, writing their names on the board. The excitement is growing for these players. Yeah, but we'll see if it actually happens. Okay, so I have AD Franch in goal. She did tremendous last week. I think she's on something. And yeah, that game was in Kansas City. It was her hometown, but I'm going to keep her in goal. So much love to Jane Campbell, but we're going to stick with Franch for today or for Tuesday. Then we're going to have Casey Kruger on the outside back position. She did fantastic. She really got up. I want to see her actually getting into the attack more so than she did the first time the U.S. played South Korea, because towards the end of the first half, she was doing it a lot more. And at the start of the second half, she was truly overlapping and sending crosses in. So I want her to have that energy when she starts the game. We saw glimpses of that, and I'm going to giving her the start because I want her confidence to grow in that outside back position. Davidson and Becky Sauerbrunn in center back duo. Every corner kick, I'm drawing up a Becky Sauerbrunn goal, so we're going to work on that one for her. And then I want Emily Fox to start on the outside right back position. So Kruger on the left and Fox on the right. I'm not sure if she deserves the start, but I want her to have it with confidence and alongside playing with Davidson, Sauerbrunn, and Kruger. I want her to be a little bit more aware that if Kruger goes up so much, she needs to still go up, but be aware of exposing the U.S.'s backline, especially against South Korea's side, because they have some really fast forwards. We saw that in Ji and Chu and everything that we saw from South Korea. Herrera will be defensive midfielder again for me. I don't think Andy Sullivan's ready to play in this one. Why risk her? Washington has an NWSL playoffs on the line. I'm sticking with Lindsay Herrera. Kat Macario and Christy Mewis in our attacking 10 and 8 positions. I think that the speed and the quickness and the lightning of Christy Mewis that she brings, along with the composure and the incredible technical skill of Kat Macario, could be a fun pairing. In front, I have to start Carli Lloyd. I'm going to give her 90 minutes in this match. We'll see if that actually happens, alongside Mallory Pugh and Lynn Williams. Just some speed. Why not start it with those attacking three? We saw that before in the Paraguay games, and those three did really well together. The speed and the composure balance between that front starting three. I think I'm going to get a win if I have this lineup here for the U.S. Sandra, how similar are we?
I feel that. I want to say we're pretty. We start off somewhat similarly, but I want to say there's actually some differences here in our wish list. Again, just to emphasize, these are things that we would like to see happen, and I think within mine, I'm actually going to put in some different scenarios as well. But I actually have the starting goalkeeper with Campbell. I think I'm in the same vibe where with the September friendlies, we wanted to see each of these goalkeepers, get a game. I'm in the same camp still where I want to see that happen again the October friendlies here. So I would like to see Jane Campbell get a start in this one. And as far as the back line, I'm same rationale in terms of having Kruger out there. I mean, Crystal Dunn opted out of these matches. It's a real opportunity to maybe sort of for head coach Vlatko Andonovski to sort of see what's available at these outside back positions. And in terms of caps on the defensive back line at that outside back position, it's probably Casey Kruger with the most of those. And even in then, it's not a whole lot. So for her to be able to get more time, get more confidence in this position moving forward, I think is important. So I also have Kruger getting the start with the center back duo of Sauerbrunn and Tierna Davidson. But I see maybe somebody like Brun getting possibly 45 in this
Mhm.
one, and maybe bringing on a Dahlkemper and splitting those things. Because again, while we're talking a lot about the outside back position, I think we're also have to pay attention to that center back duo, because
Mhm.
similar to somebody like Carli Lloyd or maybe some of the older forwards as well, Becky Sauerbrunn is the captain of this team and of a certain age and in a certain phase of her career. So we're going to have to continue to see some different center back looks and pairings as well. But I have Emily Fox getting the start in this one also. So I think for that back line, we're pretty much spot on. We were like connected with that. This is what we want to see to start this game. In the midfield, I have a different scenario because of how I'm thinking of how symbolic things will look within this final farewell game. I've got Macario Lavelle and Mewis in this one, just because Andy Sullivan is questionable. It was mentioned on the broadcast that they kept her out of the first game in the hopes that she can participate in the second South Korea match. But who's to say it's probably going to be a game time or game day decision. And I'm with you, Lisa. I think maybe if she's not 100%, you just sit her for a match like this, considering what she has in front of her for club. But I don't have Mewis, or I don't have Haran for this start, just because of what we've seen in the background on socials, where there's sort of this ceremonious passing of the number 10 to somebody like a Lindsay Haran. And typically in the past of a final, when an icon tends to retire, they tend to sub on the player that is supposed to like sort of represent their place moving forward. So for somebody
You're
like
gonna make me cry,
I don't
Sandra.
want to make you cry, but I'm just going off of history here. It happened, when Mia Hamm retired. It also happened when Heather O'Reilly retired. And you want to talk about a testament to a player. When Heather O'Reilly subbed off, they subbed off nobody in her place because she was deemed irreplaceable as the number
Yeah.
9. But Abby Wambach coming off, and Kristen Press coming on in her place. Two epic goal scorers for this team. And I wouldn't be too shocked if Carli Lloyd maybe goes, a full 90 because she's Carli Lloyd. But I also won't be surprised if they sub her off, depending on the scoreline in the 75th or 80 minutes, to sort of give her that acknowledgement and sort of give that ceremonious passing of the torch, so to speak, for Haran to come on. So that's the only reason why I don't have Haran starting. But who knows? Maybe they're going to get the start together and want them to play together. So the midfield, I've got Macario, Lavelle, and Mewis. And for the top line, I've got Carli Lloyd with the start, of course, in her final women's national team game, alongside Williams, yes, and the opposite side alongside Sophia Smith, actually. So I do want to have some different looks, dynamic, more attacking minded players who are able to get on the ball, dribble, penetrate. So I'm looking for Williams and Smith there, and I'm thinking Carli Lloyd wants to get on the end of some of those with some headers. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited for the match for sure, because I think there's gonna, like, even though we're doing wish lists and these are just sort of what we do for fun here. I do hope it is a fun game. You want to see that when it comes to those type of games that can kind of carry that sort of emotion for not just this one player who's stepping away from the game, but for others on the team as they're starting to have time to reflect on this type of player. We're hearing more about it, and more players talking about Carli Lloyd and that Carli Lloyd instinct, and how they look to that as an example, actually, when it comes to sort of being a driving force of never quitting and staying relentless. So I would love there to see the starting lineup have that rotation like we hope it might be, and maybe see a little bit of a mix where it is some veteran players and a mix of kind of current, like present and future players. So I hope we get to see that on Tuesday, Lisa.
I think we might, honestly. This is such a big moment in Vlatko Andonovski's team and in U.S. soccer, because it is the last one for Carli Lloyd. So already there's a kind of a hole to be filled on this team, which it can be done, especially with Lindsay Horan. I think it's so special and honestly so touching that Carli Lloyd chose to make that announcement on her own personal Instagram before the game. And we kind of saw it go viral over the last few days over social media about how she will be passing on for number 10 to Haran. But I want to dive into the tactics of this a little bit. And I pose a question for you, Sandra. In this first match against South Korea, the back line was Kruger, Davidson, Sauerbrunn, and then Kelly O'Hara on the one side. And South Korea really keyed in on Kelly O'Hara. Every time she got the ball trying to build out of the back for the US, they collapsed on her. They sent 2 defenders in and then another defender to the center back. So it was difficult for her to play backwards, really trying to pin in Kelly O'Hara. I'm sure that was a tactic in South Korea watching the United States play as to which side they would choose. If the other side was Crystal Dunn, she's going to run with the ball and she's going to push up, similar to how Casey Kruger has played. So I'm not surprised that they keyed in on a specific player in Kelly O'Hara. Now, based on our starting back line, we have Kruger, Davidson, Sauerbrunn, and Fox. If South Korea sees Fox starting in that lineup in the backside where Kelly O'Hara was, and they saw Fox get a few minutes on Thursday night in this match, and they saw her really floating all over the pitch, do they change their defensive pressure tactics when they see Fox and Kruger in the outside back?
I mean, possibly. I think they might. They don't have a lot. The thing is, the benefit to the U.S. team is that South Korea doesn't have a lot of footage on Emily Fox at the moment. She hasn't had a ton of national team senior national team minutes with this squad. And really, what they have to go on is the most recent footage where she kind of got those at the 20 minutes, half hour against them on Thursday night. But we saw out of this South Korea team, they make these sort of in-game adjustments. This wasn't a team that this wasn't a team that went out there and they're like, okay, this was the game plan and we're gonna see it through for 45 minutes of this first half. We saw them making adjustments in game, mid game. So I would say there's a strong possibility that they test the waters, because I think I'm gonna throw back to that first game. They tested the waters out a little bit very early in that first game, and they did try to attack that left side right away with Megan Rapinoe and Casey Kruger. And when we saw that kind of very quick counter press kind of go, we saw them try to attack, dig, pin. But this combined effort of like Casey Kruger and Tierna Davidson, they saw that they were unable to sort of break that down, and then we quickly saw them switch it up and start to center in on the opposite side. So I think we could see a little bit of similar tactic from South Korea. I think I won't be surprised if they take a look and have different scenarios in this one. So maybe they try to go at Fox first and they are unsuccessful. Maybe they try to go back on the other side and attack the other flank. But we've seen this team make in-game adjustments. So we'll see. I don't know. It's a real 50-50 for me. It's a good question though.
If they do attack Fox in, say, the first 10, 15 minutes, or they try to pin Fox in on that side, that she's not going to be there. Yeah. If you watch Emily Fox play, you know that she pushes so high or she cuts inside. Even when the U.S. is building out of the back, it almost really looks like a 3-back when you have someone like Emily Fox in there, because she is a true wing back in the way that she moves up the field. She's not really part of that build out anymore. So I'm interested to see what they do, because if they try to pin in that side, it'll really just be like Becky Sauerbrunn. But Becky Sauerbrunn can handle that type of pressure and it's fine and we move on. So that's what I'm really keyed in on the first 10, 15 minutes, to see how South Korea starts to pressure and where they focus their high press, which side of the field, when you split the field vertically, left or right, they try to pin in, and then how they make those changes, because you're right, they're a very smart team. They're coached by very good people that understand how to communicate with them, and they can read the game very, very well, that these changes will happen on the fly. It'll be minuscule. I'm sure whoever the commentators are, they'll pick them out for you. I know Julie Foudy does always such a great job at that. But yeah, that's something to definitely key in on. And this is all, of course, only if Vlatko Andonovski goes with our starting back lines. This may not even be a topic of conversation if it's Kelly O'Hara again, because they'll just pin her in.
Yeah, no, and you know what? We'll see what happens when that lineup rolls out. We'll probably be texting each other, and then we'll hop on and talk about it. But it's so true. I think when you're looking at this type of the tactics that we sort of seen out of this national team, you kind of do. You have to have 2 outside backs who can do both. Of course, ones that can get in the attack, but ones that can also defend. But as the game progresses, you have to sort of give way. So is your right side of your attack going to be more active, or is your left side of the attack be more active? So in that case, you have to have your other outside back being able to anchor things. And I think when it comes to the defensive side of things, I think we both know that Casey Kruger is very great at being at defending 1v1. So we'll see. Hopefully Vlatko does start Emily Fox, so we can have that to chat about in the recap. But we'll see. Everybody stay tuned.